Good evening and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have myself, Alan James.
And you have myself, Stephen George. Good evening.
Good evening. It's Sunday the 9th of November 2014 and we are currently in Studio 2. We thought we'd brush off the old cobwebs and give Studio 2 a spin. How right, Steve?
Yeah, so there might be a little bit of background noise. If there is, it's just a baby. And if you hear something that sounds like someone smacking a baby, that's not what's happening at all. So don't worry about that.
No worries. Okay, on the show tonight, our guest is John Urwin. He's a super soldier. John has been on the show before. And this is kind of like a part 3. So we're going to be bringing John in about 10 minutes. But we have a few things to talk about. But we'll find out what the communications channels are first.
Okay, communication channels, please.
The communication channels are email info@oymireland.com, by phone 046 927 1212, and you can also contact us direct through the OYM chat room.
Thank you, Mary. 046 927 1212 is the number. You can ring it during the week, but you can't ring it tonight because you won't get an answer, so I do apologise in advance of that. But if you want to, you can log on to OYMradio.com. That is the website. You can click on the live chat button. You can log in there with your real name or a make-you-uppy one, and you can ask questions there this evening to our guests or to ourselves, or just chat amongst yourselves. We also have on the site there, you will see the link for Facebook. We have Facebook, the anti-social media. Yes, we're on there too. And we also have a YouTube channel, so you can check that out as well. A lot of the podcasts are up there for your listening and viewing pleasure. Alan.
Right, Steve. Now, just a couple of things we're going to talk about before we get John on. One of the things was everybody's saying over here in Ireland anyway, you've probably seen the videos on Facebook regarding the Kulak protests in Dublin. And people are getting very upset and people are getting angry with the way the system is, the way the government is, and the way the Gardaí are, the police. And there's been a couple of instances of violence, or as the government say, we have dissident protesters. And obviously that's what the media is going to say, because that's what they want to paint us as, dissident protesters. Now, you're always going to get your Abbey actors. You're always going to get one or two people in the crowd that will push it with the Gardaí. But we will be talking to John in a few minutes regarding techniques and tactics that the protesters should use, violence not being one of them. Because the trouble is that the government want to bring in curfews. They want to be able to turn around and say, them protesters are violent and we're going to have to bring in curfews and bring the army out on the streets. That's exactly where you want to go. We've said this a number of times before on the show, even going back to about 2 years when we had Pastor Lindsay Williams on. And that's basically what you want to do. So if we start getting violent, I mean, you know yourself, you've probably seen the videos where people put their hands in the air and go, peaceful protest. That's exactly what we should be doing, rather than going in and getting really upset and getting violent, because that will just play straight into their hands. That's exactly what they want. And even with the protest march that's going to be on December 10th, there's a lot of kind of rumours going around saying the Gardaí are going to go in with batons and stuff like that. Well, the only reason why they'll do that is if you start getting violent with them. If it's peaceful, then there's no reason for them to do that, unless they start upsetting the protesters,
Yeah, sorry if my eyebrows have gone up very high, but from what we've seen recently, of recent days, in some of the video footage on YouTube, which, by the way, is going to be censored, the government are going to be censoring that. YouTube are already pulling down videos from, I think, the American government. They want protest videos removed, and YouTube have obliged, so I'm guessing we will be next. But no, I don't think the Gardaí need any provocation at all, to be totally honest. I think they'll just go in batons charging, to be totally honest, because I believe that's what they're being told to do. And from what we heard, and again, I discussed this last night with my sister, more from that later, but we did hear that they want women and children. They don't want women and children at these protests, so they're trying to dissuade them from going there. All they want are men, and of course, if it's just going to be men there, well, then it's going to be open season. They will go in with the batons blaring and the tear gas, or the pepper spray, whatever.
Well, okay, so we have to be careful and bring in your granny and your kids, obviously, on the march on December 10th. But we just have to be peaceful as much as we can. And if there is any guard that's stepping out, make sure you have your expensive phone, your Joan phone. We call it the Joan phone. And record the guard and try and get his number as well, because look, karma is going to come around for them guards who are stepping out of order. And the more information we have in the guard, the photo and the number, the better, because the system is coming down. I think we can all accept that. We're not going to go for the water charges. We're not going to go for the water for this charge or tax. And then the next stage will be to get rid of the government, because there's no party that's decent. None of them are decent. And maybe what we need to do is get in the technical group of independent TDs to provisionally run the government. And the first thing that they'd have to do, the first mandate from the people, would be to revoke or reintroduce Article 47, 48 on the Constitution, which is direct democracy. And then we can actually have referendums and decide what we're going to do from there. The people will decide, not the government. So, the solutions are out there. We just need to know how to do it, and we just need to put that in place before things get, more precarious, the way things are going at the moment with the government. They're trying everything to try and bribe us, but, stick with it and don't be tempted. But, Steve, you want to tell us about Mark?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about Mark in a moment. First of all, I have to play this. Come on. Okay, enough. Yes, very, very happy birthday to our own Alan James here this evening. I'm sorry we don't have cake and candles, but, you got a cup of tea and a biscuit.
I got a cup of tea. Oh, that's why I got the cup of tea and biscuit. I see.
No, I didn't even tell her it was your birthday.
Oh, okay. All right,
maybe I should have.
Thank you very much for that. Okay. Right. Another year older. Am I another year wiser? I don't know. Steve?
Oh, I think you were. I think you in the last year you've learned a hell of a lot more than you knew the year before. It's the whole learning process, isn't it?
That's it. That's life.
Anyway, again, I want to mention this. This is going to be on November the 30th. It's the international medium Mark Impey. He's going to be doing platform work in the Oldcastle Spiritual and Healing Centre. Again, it's €5 for a ticket. Money raised is going to charity. If you can make it, it would be great to see a lot of people there. As we have said, Mark has been on the show several times before. Well, he's been on the show once before, but he has been here several times. He is an excellent medium. It's a night not to be missed. If you want more information on the show, if you're on Facebook, just go to the Oldcastle Spiritual and Healing Centre Facebook page. You'll get all the information you need there. But again, it's going to be Sunday, the 30th of November. Do you know what time that's starting, Alan, by the way?
7 p.m, I believe.
7 p.m. Oh, it's going to clash with us. Don't worry, we've got that covered as well.
We've got that covered. We've got all
bases covered.
All bases covered. Right, I don't know whether you heard, but Joan Borton apparently won an award for Woman of the Year. And
is that a joke?
No, she actually won. And apparently when they called her out and said, the Woman of the Year is Joan Bruton. Is it Bruton or Borton? Bruton.
Brutal, I'd call her.
Brutal, yeah. Apparently a few people stood up and walked out of the room. And awarding Joan Bruton with Woman of the Year would be like giving Joseph Fritzl getting Dad of the Year. You know that guy that kept his daughter in the basement in Switzerland? It's like giving him Dad of the Year from Joan Bruton, because, Woman of the Year, to talk about it in your face, it's unbelievable.
You could, as we say before, you couldn't make that sort of stuff up. That's really flying in the face of everyone. The woman, look, the last protest, she was actually on record as saying about all the people who were recording the Gardaí. She was wondering, she kind of inferred that they were all unemployed layabouts with very expensive phones, and I think she was wondering where they got all these phones. So she was then kind of christened iPhone Joan. But,
iPhone Joan, or the Joan phone. Oh, I see. How's your week?
Yeah, my week's been kind of good. When I say it's good, I wasn't feeling as tired this week as I have been in previous weeks, so that's good. Just kind of checking out some more stuff on the protests that are going on, and there's no real let up, but I do believe this week the water protesters, they have kind of called, not the protesters, sorry, the Irish water workers, I believe they have called off installations in, I don't know if it's all areas or certain areas, because of, as Alan mentioned earlier, the talk of dissident Republicans have infiltrated some of the protest groups. Well, I think that's just more PR spin from the propaganda machine that is Dennis O'Brien, Irish government, Irish Independent, and all the newspapers that Dennis O'Brien owns, and the radio stations. In fact, as I say, we hear more about this later. In a pre-record, I done a pre-record last night with my sister, who agreed, and you probably remember I did say that she apologised for the way she kind of treated me. Well, not so much treated me, but the way she acted towards me when I first had my awakening experience. And she now has had hers. So we done a pre-record last night, and we just kind of spoke about that. But she was talking about so much stuff, and I've actually lost me train of thought there. But look, we will hear more about that later. But yeah, I was kind of watching some video footage, and she was the one who was saying to me about, in her own opinion, she reckons that it's the guards. They don't want the women and children out there. They only want the men because they'll go to town on the men. Since her waking up, she's covered a lot of ground actually, and some of it actually kind of surprised me. Again, you'll hear about this later. I was also going to mention, and I mentioned it actually already, about YouTube censoring videos. I heard that during the week as well, that protest videos in America are being censored, they're being removed. People are leaving Facebook in search of a better system, a better kind of social media, if you like. Some people are going to a thing called VK.com, I believe that is in Russia, and there's another one as well, Scene, SEEN, Scene.is, based in Iceland. So a lot of people who are kind of involved in protest and involved in that sort of thing, they're actually going over there because they realise that a lot of the Gardaí are infiltrating Facebook pages, and they're kind of coming in and they're trolling the pages, and they're trying to incite violence even on the bloody pages. So people are kind of getting sick of that as well and moving away. Outside of that, it's just kind of been business as usual really here. So I just want to say before I do throw it over to Alan, I do apologise for any background noise that you may be experiencing. Again, because it is a little babby. So we'll do our best to keep her quiet. Alan, how was your week?
No problem. Just a couple of things as usual. I was at the Louth Land League on Wednesday night, and brilliant chat, great bunch of people, loads of solutions, loads of ideas, and just great information to be passed around. Nobody talking over each other, everybody sharing information. Now, the Louth Land League want to set up more groups around the country. So if you are situated somewhere in Ireland and you have a group of people that you can get together and then set up a little Land League group, let us know. I will pass on the information to Finbar and the people in the Land League, and we'll organise that somebody go down and do a little bit of training with you on what to do. And there's nothing, when you start sharing the information, it's amazing what you learn. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be down in the Trim Circuit Court again on behalf of the Land League, and we'll be waiting to see how many repossessions are going to be taking place. And basically the idea will be just to grab the people who are up in front of the registrar and give them a leaflet from the Land League and tell them that, look, go in and say you have a defence, and that you want to postpone any judgment, and basically get them to talk to the Land League, and hopefully we can keep them in their homes without the repossession taking place. This is what we did a few weeks ago, and I know that the people from the hub will probably be there as well. So, it was a great camaraderie the last time we went down there. There's a whole group of us there trying to help people coming in and out of the court. So hopefully the same thing will happen tomorrow as well. And we're just down there purely to help the people stay in their homes so they don't get repossessed by the banks. That's the plan of attack. So if you are in Trim at all and you want to pop down and you want to help out, by all means take a spin down, and that's where you're going to find me and a few other people trying to stop the banks from taking people's homes away. Right, okay, let me see what else is on the list. Okay, I think the Land League group of meetings, if all communities had that kind of idea where everybody sat around and talked, life would be so much better. Sharing the information is brilliant. That's what's missed, Now, the other thing that's on the list is, now, I don't know about this, so I don't know how true this is, but the government seem to be quite adamant to get the Irish water in. And it's like is that Dennis O'Brien maybe did a contract. I'm not saying this happened. I'm just saying maybe, this is why. But Dennis O'Brien might have done a contract with the Irish government saying that if you don't get the Irish water in and I don't get my privatisation of owning Irish water, then the taxpayer is going to have to pay the difference because he's not going to take the risk putting all that money in and not getting anything out. And maybe that's why the Irish government are so adamant that this has to go in, because they'll be in breach of contract with Dennis O'Brien. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case. It's only my own opinion, and that might be the case, and why Dennis O'Brien's pushing, and why the government is pushing this, and they're desperate. They started off with it was going to be £500, £400, £250. Now they're trying to bribe us with €100 to try and sign up and register. I was down with a relative of mine. She's in her 80s, and I said, "What did you do with your paperwork?" And she said, "Oh, well, I filled it out." She said, "But it's still here." She said, "I don't really want to send it in." So I kind of gave her a heads up, and then I got talking to her about the vaccines, and she said, "Oh yeah, the flu vaccines." She said, "I wouldn't have that. You don't know what's in it."
Actually, right? Do you know what? Can I just interject there 1 second? Just because when you mentioned that, a red flag went off in my head. I actually have flags in my head, which is kind of scary. But my missus said she heard something on mainstream during the week. They were talking about the MMR vaccine. And there's a big. I'm not going down the autism road, but there is a link with the MMR vaccine and tonsillitis. Believe it or believe it not. And see me, there are a lot of cases of babies who were vaccinated with that particular one who developed tonsillitis. And as I say, my eldest two were vaccinated because I wasn't awake at that point in time, so they did get that particular jab. Both of them did develop tonsillitis at around 1 year of age, and they both had their tonsils out when they were 3. And you probably know that the little one here, she hasn't got any poison in her system, and guess what? She's never sick, and she doesn't have tonsillitis.
Brilliant. Well, there you go. I mean, I didn't say anything to my relative. She's in her 80s. I didn't ever talk to her before about anything got to do with poisons and stuff. This is her own choice. And the other thing she said, I don't drink the water either. She said, I have bottled water. She said, I don't like the stuff that's in that tap water. And then I said to her about fluoride being a neurotoxin. So I was shocked and pleasantly surprised that my relatives who are in their 80s are actually, that open-minded, they're aware of it, So that was good too. That was good to hear. Now, for people who are going on the protest, and I put this up on Facebook for people if you want to check it out. But for people who want to design posters and have them really big, there's 2 websites that you need to know about. One is called posteraser.sourceforge.net, and that's a software program that you can download. It's free, and it's multiple platform. And then the other one is a website, and it's a strange name, I know. It's called rasterbator.net, rasterbator.net, and that's online. And basically, you can go along to them 2 sites. And if you have an image that you want to have really big, you put the image in, and the software does the magic, and it prints out the image in different A4 sheets, and then what you do is you stick them together, and it forms the big poster. So that's just handy, like if you're going down to the protest and you want to make a big poster, that's how you do it, if you have an image to do it on. So that's a quick tip. And the last thing on the list before we get John on, it's just very quickly, I see Sheryl Crow suspects that the cell phone that she was using was the cause of her brain cancer. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I think regular listeners of OYM will know that that's no surprise. She didn't go in much in depth with it. She just kind of said, I suspect that. But she said, I suspect that it was my mobile phone. But the doctors really aren't saying anything. Well, they won't say anything because they want to keep their job. That's why they're not saying anything. But we can confirm that chances are it probably was your mobile phone. Okay, we bring a guest on. Now, John has been on the show before. And John is a super soldier. And so before we go into talking about any information, we're just going to bring John on, and we'll do a bit 5-minute bio just for people who don't know John. I haven't heard John on the show before. Good evening, John. How are you doing?
Oh, hi. How's things?
Not too bad. Thanks for coming on, John.
Well, listen, can I just contradict you in what you? I'm not a super soldier.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know what a super soldier is.
Okay.
I don't know what they use super soldiers for, other than what I've seen on films on TV.
Okay. But
That's
your training was.
I was trained with a special forces group in the Middle East in the late 50s.
Yeah.
It was secret. It was more or less an intelligence group, and I was trained as an assassin.
Okay.
But I'm not a super soldier. I was trained with special techniques in a special combat, which is not known anywhere else in the world, not in the martial arts world. But other than that, that's it, I'm afraid.
Okay, we'll say you're a super guy then. How's that?
Whatever.
Okay, John, it's great to have you on. You have been on, been a few months before you came on, and what's really great is that you have all this experience, in what you've gone through, and you've heard us talking about the protests and the violence and all that, and I know that you've been kind of keeping up to date what's going on globally and all the kind of austerity protests and marches that's gone on. What's your take on that? What do you think is going on, and where do you think we are now at the moment?
Well, let's say it's a bit catch-22. We've got to be very careful what we are saying.
Yeah.
For a start, because the elite are in full control of all Western governments, whether you like it or not. They've spent the last 70 years that I'm aware of infiltrating governments, taking over governments. All the Western governments are fully taken over by these people, which we're frightened to say the name of, in case we get arrested. That's how bad things really are, you see. And if you're talking about peaceful demonstrations, hey, that would be great if that would work. But believe me, they're sitting listening. You will have been infiltrated. And no matter what you do, they'll have false flags ready and waiting in some shape or form. So that's exactly what they're going to do to you. No matter what you do, in my opinion, if you're going to do it over the airways, the art of self-defense is the element of surprise. You're going to have to start talking to each other in a totally different way. You're going to have to tour the country. And you're going to have to make sure exactly when you get there who the hell it is you're talking to. Because, like I said, this is how the elite took over governments like the Burgess McCain, Kim Philby, all the spies, years and years ago. They infiltrated governments, they got in, and they've taken over. And this is exactly what they'll do to you.
Yeah. Until
you start learning to get experts in, I mean real experts, and start putting down a real plan. Because, yes, listen to every word you say, and if you think it's peaceful demonstrations going to work, it's not. Believers, these people don't give a shit about whether you've got your family there or not. You saw what they did in London bombings. You saw what they did on 9/11. We're still talking about 9/11. 13 years on, we're still talking. It's all talk. If you want action, you're going to have to sit down with a group of people who are vetted, solidly vetted, and that's the only way you're going to be able to do it. Because you're sitting listening, they know every word you're saying, and they know exactly how to deal with you.
Yeah.
They're experts in the field. Sorry to put the block on you, but that's the way it is. I was in the business. I know how they operate.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of people out there who mean well, who think they know something, but believers they don't, because the weapons these guys have got now is so powerful. It's not like the 40s and the 50s. They've got energy weapons, they've got solar weapons, they've got all sorts. And they're just waiting. They're just waiting for the right time. And the reason why they haven't done it prior to now is they needed to conquer space itself. In other words, get the satellites up there so they can direct these weapons. And like I said, it's sound weapons, it's radio wavelengths, it's energy weapons. And believe me, they're all in place now. You're going to need experts to sit down and talk to you properly without them bloody well listening. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's very difficult, John, as you know.
I know it is. I know, but you're going to have to get the experts in. People who really know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And then
because, like I said, look, your enemy is all around you.
Yeah.
They live next door, right? They're called your friends. They're called the policemen. They're called soldiers. It's the people who stop the people from getting to the people at the top. But don't forget, them at the very, very top are not people. Believers, they're not people.
Mm.
You're going to have to get your act together and start really, really, I don't want to say too much. You need to get together in private and make sure it's bloody private.
Well, this is one of the things that we've come across as well. Even in the truth movement, John, you have people who infiltrate the truth movement, and apparently they're supposed to be, it's supposed to be people promoting the truth. But if people who are in the truth movement are attacking other people in the truth movement, surely that's a red flag to everybody else, saying, why are you attacking...
That's the obvious ones, you see, but there's a lot of movements going on now where you believe that they're really your friends. Unless you know the techniques and how to disclose these people to, how you know who these people are, you need a special techniques you can use, you see, which I'm not going to talk about. But there are. You see, you're taking it as you see it.
Yeah,
but
well...
like I say, you need people like me, if you like. I know how to deal with these people. I know what to do, and I know how to fix it so they cannot infiltrate. Right?
Okay.
That's what you need.
Okay, can the OYM budget push to John flying over here and sorting a few people out?
No, we could probably get him a push bike or a small little thingy.
I don't know, John. We have to wait till we can have more donations in to hire you to get you to come over here.
Yeah, but I don't even want them to know that.
Well, we won't tell them you're coming over. We'll have
don't worry, you'll have somebody in your group now which will tell them.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
No,
look, there's so many narcissists out there.
Yeah.
There's so many people that work for them, right?
Yeah.
And these people are the people you never suspect. And don't forget, it's easy to tell people. It's easy to fool people than it is to tell people they've been fooled.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And David Icke's one of them, believers. He works for them 100%. But I mean, I can hear people now, they're going to be disappointed there. But believe me, he is definitely 100% one of them. Believers.
Who else who would you, in your opinion?
Same with Brian Garish. All of these people, UK independence, that's how powerful these people are. They're in here. They're all around you. They're coming at you from all different directions, man. Really, they're coming at you from... You see, look, I have a saying, if you're looking for the truth, but if you put the truth into a barrel of lies and deception, and you don't know what the truth is, you're not going to find it, even if you knew what the truth was. That's why they allow people on YouTube. That's why there's millions of YouTube films, each one contradicting the other. You don't know where the hell you are. You just don't know how, it's like 9/11. We're still talking about 9/11 13 years on. We're still talking about the London bombings. We're still talking about JFK, Princess Diana. Nothing ever gets done. We just talk about the damn thing.
Right. Well, tell us...
You've got to get action. Life depends on it. Now, don't forget, I met Brian Garish 5 years ago in Manchester on the railway station. He asked me what the plans were. I said, you mean of the elite? I said, look, they've already taken over all Western governments. I said, but the plan, the weapon they're going to use is immigration. Oh, that frightened the life out of them. Immigration is why you're forcing the European Union, bringing down the borders, pour millions of different cultures into our countries to destroy the British way of life, but also to destroy theirs. We should be protecting the culture throughout the world. Protecting them. Right?
Okay.
There's a very good reason for that. We are not all the same, anything but. And that's what they want you to, that's exactly what they want you to think. You see, the Baphomet, I don't know if you know what that is, but that's their plan. Look at the Baphomet.
Okay. Well,
half animal, half human. They want everything mixed up. They've been playing about with the DNA since the 1950s. And that's their big plan. Now, you saw those films on YouTube. These are genuine. These are, I've got to use the word here, a Jew telling you that the plan is to use immigration They're going to turn this country into a multiracial dustbin. And they tell you that. That's not me telling you. And you've also got another Jewish guy telling they've got to get rid of the white race. There's a very, very good reason for that, and not the one you think of. Believers. And it, you know, again, I don't want to say too much more, okay, on these particular subjects.
And what about...
I'll put that idea in your head.
Okay.
You need, if you want to conquer these people, you're going to have to be very, very astute, because they know all these demonstrations have been done 50 years ago, man. the miners did it. Peaceful demonstrations, they're not going to work. They'll have infiltrators, they'll do all sorts of things to make sure it doesn't work. But, I mean, you know, that's just hope. That's hope. You're relying on hope.
Okay. Well,
it's really too late for that. You've got to start really getting your act together, because your life depends on it.
Okay. What about your documentary that you told us about before? What's the state of play with that at the moment? Because you did say you had information that you want to get out there.
Well, like I said, at the moment I've signed a contract with Michael Mealis, the film people, and Sean Stone. That's the son of Oliver Stone. And I've signed a contract with them. They're going to make a film on this book. But again, I have to be very careful who I'm talking to here.
Yeah.
You see, I've got a great deal of information that nobody knows about. I know what these people are, who they are, what their real plan is, and not the one you believe or the one you're hearing about. It's not that at all. It's completely the opposite. The big plan, you see. It's not just to take over the world. Believe it. There's a bigger plan than that. And let's talk about it, just in case people think it's space I'm talking about, the conquer space. Let's explain something to you about the human being. A human being cannot leave this planet. You cannot go to the moon. You can't leave this planet. If you leave 250 miles above this planet, you cannot exist. Full stop. No matter what you're wearing or what you're in. Let's explain. If you look at the human body, it has blood pressure. It has to have a temperature, the right blood pressure. If it changes in some way, you're seriously ill. But you know, weather changing can do serious damage to us. We can get all sorts of diseases, flus and God knows what else. But the main thing is, we're surrounded by pressure. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a scientist. But one thing I was taught when I was in the army was all about the human body and what it's capable of doing. And I was also told then that was impossible to leave this planet. And I explain why again. We're surrounded by pressure. That's why you have blood pressure, to equalize the pressure that's around us. Right? Now, if you take the air out of a can or whatever, you notice the can crumbles. Well, that would happen to us. So you have to have a certain amount of blood pressure, and the human body operates like on the Earth's energy fields, the Earth's frequency. That's what makes your heart tick. It doesn't tick for any other reason. So the second we try to leave this planet, we can get above the Earth's atmosphere. But it's a bit like if you get in an airplane, you go to 35,000 feet. The first thing they're going to do is pressurize the cabin, because they've got to equalize the pressure of, from the ground. Yeah. Otherwise, you're seriously ill in the plane. This is why pilots have to wear pressurized suits. Now, I'm a pilot, but you have to wear pressurized suits. The second you go above the Earth's atmosphere, the frequency and the energy fields start to get weak. And all these guys that are up there in satellites and what have you, or in space, they suffer all sorts of things when they come back. If you go above 200 and odd miles, your body disintegrates. The ticking stops, your heart stops. The energy field, you're leaving the energy field. Your heart stops and you shrivel up like a prune. So all of this crap about going to the moon or going anywhere, you can't. Believers, test it out yourself. Have a look. Have a look at your body. Work it out. If you go to the moon, the moon's the gravitation pull on the moon is supposed to be a fifth or whatever it is on Earth. It has no protection against meteorites. It's bombarded with radiation, several different types of radiation, and they're talking about putting some kind of building on it. Well, who the hell wants to go there? It's bombarded every week with thousands of meteorites. It's all a lie.
Do you think, John, that is it possible that they have the advanced technology to be able to...
No, the body can't do it. They've tried everything. The body just can't do it. The only thing they're interested is getting things in the upper atmosphere so they can use these energy weapons on us. But other than that, this body, the body mind, there's something else I know, but I can't mention it on radio anywhere. In fact, all of these is going to come out when I meet up with Sean Stone again. He was over here in January. But until I know exactly who I'm talking to over there, don't forget he says he's a Freemason. And it's Freemasons who's mostly responsible for what's going on in the world. So I have to be careful here what I'm doing, because the film world is owned by these people as well. This is how they control people. This, they own the newspapers, the TVs, they own everything. That's how they program you. So I have to be very, very careful of what I'm doing here. I need to know who I'm talking to. Once I understand and I get some evidence on who these people really are, then I can spill the beans.
Okay.
But it's completely the opposite of what you think. And it's very, very important that this message gets out.
Okay.
Because once they realize that I am fully aware, I don't think I'm going to last long.
But you have the book. Your book is being re-released, I believe, on Amazon, is it?
Yeah, well, it's nothing in the book really that tells you anything that I really know.
Okay. The
book comes out in February, right?
Yeah.
It gives you a good idea what I did. The one step beyond, which we see in the book, is called the fear elimination, but it's more than that. It was another way of programming me into this combat, which would have probably taken quite a while for me to learn it, but actually programmed us with it. And I saw lots of other things that you would normally see.
Yeah.
But like I say, I don't want to go into that too much.
Okay.
But remember, if you want to beat these people, you've got to start learning. What can I say here? I've got to be careful. You've got to start getting professional people in, people who really know what they're talking about. And I'm not talking about SES or anything like that. You've got to start getting professionals in, real professionals. Otherwise, you're not going to make it.
Okay.
You saw what they did. Look, you saw what they did in America. What was that? There was something, I forget what it was now. Anyway, where the bomb went off in the streets.
Oh yeah.
What was that? That was
the Boston bombing.
Yeah, exactly. This is the sort of thing they get up to.
Yeah. Well, we know about where the false flags. John, we have a few questions that's come in. So, Steve, do you want to go through the questions for John there?
Yeah, John, we do have a couple of questions. It's good information. There's a lot of interest on the chat, and we're going to right off the bat. Chris is wondering, where does John get his information from if he is out of the military, and can what you say be confirmed?
Yes, what I say can't be confirmed. I was in the military. I can't stay. I'm 76 now, man. That's why I'm not in the military, probably. Yeah. But no. It's I was out in the military. It's 55 years ago. I learned everything I know during that period of time out in the Middle East. What can I say? You don't have to be in it for years and years to know what I know. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's not something that takes a long, long time. In fact, I've actually, how can I put it? I learned more in 2 months that most of you would learn in 20 years.
Jesus, that's obviously mind blowing stuff. Then you've learned.
What I've seen, what I saw out there in the Middle East. how can I put it again? I saw advanced technology out there. We recovered some objects which were about 10 inches long, 4 inches wide, that had information on them, and you had to have 6 of them put together before you got all the information of them. Now, I believe that certain people got 2 of these objects, took them to the Nazi scientists prior to the war to try and work it out for them. The Nazi scientists worked on it. They got some information off it, but they couldn't get all of it, and they were playing about with it, and they thought they had anti-gravity machine. The reason why I'm hesitating, like I said, I've got to be careful what I say.
Yeah.
They thought they had an anti-gravity machine, but they had the bell, okay?
The Nazi bell, yeah.
The Nazi bell, the deconker, or whatever it's called. They thought they had an anti-gravity machine. When they switched it on for the second time, the people around that particular bell vanished. They discovered they had an energy weapon which they couldn't control.
Mm.
It was just after that, then the war started, and then after the war, the same people that were responsible for that war, by the way, are the ones that brought all the Nazi scientists, called Operation Paperclip, over to America to complete that. Mm. They completed that. It took them quite a few years, took, I don't know, 20, 30 years to complete it. But they experimented, they used that weapon on 9/11. That's why half the building vanished. That's why steel girders disappeared. That was that was proof that they were actually using these energy weapons.
And Dr. Judy Wood, actually, she wrote a book about that, and she said the same thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so did John Lear, by the way, is a friend of mine, and he will confirm what I'm saying as well. But again, I was out there before they were, before even John Lear, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I was feet on the ground, and he was a pilot. Mm. But again, the people that we were after, and the people that were disposed of, in the book, what I'm stating in the book wasn't exactly for that reason. It was for another reason. I mean, the reason I'm using the book was partly that, but there was another reason as well, and it had a lot to do with DNA. Okay?
Okay. Well, we know there's only so much that you can talk about. Let's go over with you. We have a few questions here, so let's get through them there. Steve?
Yeah, John, Chris is also wondering, if David Icke is a plant, how come he has woken up so many people?
Well, you're not. You see, the thing is, he's telling people what we already know. It's on, they're on YouTube anyway. Well, I don't know what you mean by waking them people up, because if you listen carefully to what he says mostly at the end of his speeches, we're all the same. He tells you that to lie and to get off its knees, but then he tells you, don't demonstrate, don't vote, because the voting's rigged. He tells you all the things you shouldn't do, but he never tells you on what to do.
Yeah, but I think he's doing it. I mean, in that respect...
No, all he's doing is, like I say, he's been doing it for 25 years, which he admits. But all this other stuff he talks about how important we are we're some kind of super energy or something. We're not. Believers we're not. And again, when he talks about we're all the same. That's exactly what the elite want you to do. That's why they're bringing millions of people into the country. And if you say anything against it, you'll be arrested. Now, David Icke's all in favour of that. Ask him, and he'll tell you this, that he said that we're all the same. We're not. We should be protecting all the races. We should take notice of nature, because here's another thing. Let's put it this way. We are designed to kill. Whether you like that or not, we are designed to kill, to live on this planet. It's the only way we can live on this planet. Now let's explain why. Everything, to survive on this planet, we must kill something. if it's not plants, and plants are alive, they breathe, they drink water, everything on this planet kills each other in some way, shape or form. The fish eat the fish, we eat the fish, we eat the animals will probably eat us to get the chance, and so on and so on. But that's what we do. That's how the planet survives. Because each one controls the other by doing that. That's the only way we can do it. Everything we eat was alive at some point. Is that right?
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's not to just make sense. That's a fact. It's all around you. Yeah, everything you eat was alive, even if there are plants. The plants eat plants.
So what you're basically talking about is the law of the jungle.
The law, that's what we are. That's exactly what we are. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. But you just look around you, man. Everywhere in the world, there's wars taking place. There always has been. There'll be wars and rumours of wars. Of course there will. There always has been wars and rumours of wars.
Oh, well.
From the time we were cavemen, if you like, we're still protecting our own race and destroying. That's the way we're built.
So where does that leave us?
We live on this planet.
So where does that leave us, John? If that's the case, are you saying that we have to go back to nature?
Well, you should never have left it the first bloody place.
Yeah. Well, I know, but that's kind of society and culture and everything else over the...
No, this is just, they're just where the way the elite have been, the way we've been programmed to live. Everything's been done for us, so we don't see it.
Yeah.
We just don't see it. But I mean, see, for instance, tomorrow, everything collapses, right?
Yeah.
What the hell are you going to do? You're going to start trying to grow things, aren't you? You're going to start looking for even rabbits or whatever. You're going to start wanting to eat.
Yeah.
And believe us, your next door neighbours, when it gets to that stage, would be killing you to take what you've got if they're not capable of doing it. That's a fact.
Well, I'll tell you, the movie, the National Geographic documentary, which they had on YouTube called Blackout, actually gave you that scenario where the power went down, and they had different people. They had the preppers who were already organised, and they had the couple in the condo, the flat, where they were saying, "Oh, we must speak to the maintenance man." And after about 3 days, there was people killing each other for a tin of food.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying now, look at now, you've got the police who will, will shoot you. They've done it. Remember the Menzies?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
He was an electrician on the underground, and the reason why they actually killed him, because he knew there was bombs underneath the trains in London.
Yeah.
So they deliberately chased him 5 miles deliberately they followed him on a bus. They went all the way to the underground in London. And then they shot him on the train. They let him get on the train and put 8 bullets in his head. That's what they'll do to you. They've proved it. They can do it, and they can get away with it now.
Yeah. Well,
and they've done it. They're killing thousands of people across the world. They're destroying races across the world. They're using races against races. That's exactly what they do. That's their weapon. That's their weapon. Now, whether you like that or not, it doesn't matter, because that's a fact.
Okay.
Just look around you.
We'll go on to the other questions there. Go ahead.
Yeah, there are more questions, John, but I just want to say, make of this what you will, but when I start kind of becoming awake, if you want to call it that, and realising that there was more to the world than I'd been led to believe, one of the names that did kind of pop up on my radar was David Icke. I did watch some of his stuff. Now, again, you have your thoughts on him, but my kind of thoughts on him were I didn't believe everything the guy said, but there was a lot of what he said, and it may not have been groundbreaking information.
Wait. He has to tell you a lot of truths. He has to tell you about the bankers. He has to tell you all the obvious things that you can see, otherwise you will not believe him. He has to say something that you like.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to take any notice of them.
So again,
it's like the truth will set you free. That's the biggest load of nonsense I've ever heard. The truth, people avoid the truth like the plague, like they're doing now. They listen to me on this program, but they'll avoid it like the plague. Well, you know that what I'm saying is a fact. It's true. It's nature. Nature made this world. That's what makes the world. Now, if you're going to talk about God making the world, let's talk about that for a few seconds. So you've got this God. This is see what nature is. You've got this God who makes a world. Why? Then he puts people on it. Then he gives them free will. But then, if they don't do as he tells them, he drowns them, he brings plagues on them, he slaughters them in every way possible, but then he sends them to hell. But he loves them. It's amazing, isn't it? So you've got this mass murderer who doesn't really exist. Everything I said is true, and you bloody well knew it. He goes around slaughtering, drowning people. He drowned everybody on this planet at one time. So they say he's just a mass murderer. People are going to be doing that now, like, but this is fact.
Well, the one thing you said to John to me when we were talking before, and you asked me, you said, Alan, when did religion start? And I said, well, I don't know. I had to think about it.
It started 2.5 years. It's roughly 2,500 years ago.
Yeah, and
before that, prior to that, the only gods that ever existed were the sun gods, river gods, sea gods. It was only when the Jews came along that there was a god.
Yeah.
They invented the god. It just so happened that the god they invented chose them.
Don't they say?
The chosen people.
Isn't the saying that the elite invented religion so the poor people wouldn't kill them? Well, okay, Steve has a few more questions for you, John.
I'm sure there is.
John, Laney is wondering, why are you still alive if you're going around speaking so much truth?
Because this is the first time I've ever spoken about it, really.
Right, okay.
Wait, I'm not joking, yeah? Try what I've actually said here. I mean, nobody even knows about me yet. But one thing you've got to remember, I'm better trained than what they are. Believers, I'm better trained than what they are.
Yeah.
I didn't want to come on this program tonight because otherwise I'm contradicting my bloody self. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But you see, the thing is, I'm just trying to get some word out. Then suddenly, like I said, I won't do any more. I'm not going to do any more. This word, what I'm doing tonight is the last one. Let's hope that the right people hear us. But I've got to be silent from now on. Because I'm wasting my time with the people. Because I've told you, it's the people who's your enemy.
Yeah.
It's the people who are enforcing the laws of the elite. The elite don't go around with guns and bloody shields. It's your policemen and it's your bloody soldiers who are see, they're like the what do you call it? What do you call the candidate? What do you call it? I'm forgetting what his name is now. The Manchurian candidate.
Oh,
right?
yeah, MK Ultra. Yeah.
He has a whistle or whatever on the phone, and then he suddenly turns into a different guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what the police do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the soldiers do when they put the uniform on.
Yeah. So
you see, they'll kill anybody. They'll kill their bloody parents, man.
And John, we have to agree with you on that. We've seen the police do things over here with the protesters, and everybody's saying to them, "Why are you doing it? Why don't you get it? Why don't you?" And I'm convinced they had some NLP or common purpose training where they're brainwashed, they're programmed to do this.
No. See, the problem is this: the programming, which is, like I said, it's how can I put it? They're like narcissists, you see.
Yeah.
When through narcissists, the psychopaths, when people are like that, you could say we would think they were ill. In a sense, they are. It's just that the feelings have gone. You see, we were supplied with feelings such as love, hatred, jealousy, anger. All of these things are meant to be. You see? That's what controls us. We're meant to get angry, to be able to defend ourselves when it's necessary. But what's happening is we're being programmed to actually destroy each other. You see, this didn't just start 50 years ago.
Yeah.
These people have been at it for thousands of years. And if you go back to, I'm not a historian, but if you go back to the 16th, 17th century or something, where they actually got our troops to stand in the middle of a field with bloody red suits on, shoulder to shoulder, so they could be shot at.
Yeah.
You see, your natural instinct, your nature, your natural instinct would be to drop on the floor or hide.
Yeah.
But you see, but this, what we are talking about now, didn't start just 50 years ago. They've been at it for a long, long time, hundreds of years. They've been gradually working their way into the system like bloody maggots, getting the money. And the reason why they got where they are, because there's so many bloody greedy people. You know, you've just got to look at your TV or your film world. Hey, man, they're all bloody pedophiles. They're all going to bed with each other. They're satanic. You know, they sell their soul to the devil, man. There's more enemies out there than you could ever imagine. They're all around you. The film people live in a fantasy little world of their own. And you're saying they'll trample all over you just to get publicity. And, you know, and when they start to change and they're losing their looks, they start on all the drugs and God knows what else. But that's one of our biggest problems. But one of our biggest problems is the vast majority of the people are narcissists. You know, they live in a world of fantasy. They're just sheer greed. And that's why we've got a big problem on our hands, because there's millions of people out there will sell you down the river tomorrow for a few quid.
I know.
And that's one thing we've really got to take on board. You know, we've really got to start understanding what we are.
Okay, John, we have loads of questions coming in. Surprise, surprise. Loads of people bringing questions.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. But just because we obviously have to keep a track and time, and obviously we want to go through all the questions. So, Steve, if you want to run through the questions there with John.
Yeah, I'll just go through one at a time. John, how long is John McGuire is wondering how long before John is able to spill the beans? And continuing on from that one, Lainey is wondering, if something happens to you, have you left all the information that you want people to know in the hands of someone who can get it out there? And Andy is wondering, why do we have to wait for the film to come out to learn all the information? He said, we need the information now.
Well, I'll say again, I'm not trying to be funny with your listeners, but this is how naive they are. Listen carefully to what they've just said. Right? If I put it, how can I get it into the film world when the film world is controlled by these people?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Right? Now, what was the other question? Tell us another one.
Yeah, well, say John was wondering how long before you will be able to spill the beans.
Okay. When I see, how can I put it? Again, one has to be very careful. I'm telling the enemy. They're listening. The time is coming. It's not far away. That's all I can say. The other one is about, have I left something behind? I'm trying not to say too much. Well, I'm not trying to say too much here. Okay, but let's put it this way. It's like when you get some clown, right? Like on Alex Jones.
Yeah.
When a colonel gets on and he puts an advertisement on where to hide your gun. I mean, how stupid can you get? So this book is selling on where to hide your gun. Do you think the criminals are not going to buy that book?
Of course they are.
Well, it's on AIDS. It was on these sites until I brought the subject up with Kerry Cassidy, and I noticed it disappeared after that. But here's another one. Here's another colonel in the American Army who was a professional sniper. He wrote a book on sniping, and I think it was about 7 or 8 months later, he got a letter from Afghanistan thanking him very much for the information that he's killed 17 American troops with the skills. You starting to get the message?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you starting to learn? Keep your mouth shut. I can't say too much.
That's going to be hard for me.
I know it is. Well, it's got to come to an end this now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. But the questions that's being asked are asked by people who mean well, they've got a good heart, but I'm sorry, but they're not in the professional world, and of course they wouldn't be asking the questions they're asking.
Okay. No,
understand?
Do we totally get it? Yeah, exactly. If you're going to do it, just make sure that you do it away from listening ears, and don't be broadcasting it over social media.
You just tell the Irish people, stick to your traditions, stick to your culture. You know, I love the Irish people. But
okay, a couple more questions for you, John. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, Laney again is wondering, can you ask John to explain more about, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Baphomet energy on Earth?
Okay, no, Baphomet's not the energy. It's a symbol that the Freemasons worship, and what it is, it's a figure which has got a goat's head, it's got women's breasts, it's got men's arms, it's got goat legs, and that's what they're trying to do. What they want to do is mix the DNA of all races. They've even got women, this is no joke, this is not a lie, you can get this on the internet, they're mating with animals. Believers. They're trying to mix up the DNA. And if you think that this is, I'm not religious in any way, but listen, I've been there, I know about it, it's not something I'm saying off the top of my head. I'm not one of these crazy people. This is why a lot of me interviews that I did make, I've taken them off. And the reason why I made them in the first place, this is how I actually got in touch with Sean Stone and them. Once I did that, then I closed them all down. Right? I closed them all down. I had to make connections. I had to break my rules, because that's the only way I can do it.
Yeah.
At the moment. But once I start getting people in, once I get people in who know what they're doing, then we can form one little Bilderberg group, if you like. You understand? That's what you should be doing.
Okay, let's go on to the next couple of questions. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, John, Andy is wondering, why have you teamed up with Sean Stone? What's the reason behind that?
Well, I thought, again, that was rather obvious, you see. Again, it's a really naive question in a way, because they were the only people who come to me who was prepared to make a film of my book. To try and get a book printed is virtually, it's virtually impossible, honestly. I got my book printed through sheer accident. This was about 10 years ago. I've been robbed ever since. I never made a penny off that book. I've had 2 companies who printed the book, and I never received a penny other than the first initial payment of taking the book on. But it comes out again in February this year by John Blake Publishing, and let's see what happens then. But in regards to the film, I couldn't get anybody in the film world interested at all. If it hadn't been for the few YouTube films I was on, and them getting in touch with me, that would have been it. You've got to understand that Sean Stone and them are not like his father. They're not big people. Do you understand? I mean, they make good films, but they're not out there. They don't like what's going on in the film world, put it that way. That's one of the reasons why I connected with them.
Okay. And I know
they don't like all the satanic stuff that's taking place in the film world, and all this child abuse in the film world. It's everywhere. Yeah. And if you want to know why David Icke knew about sorry, I'm talking to Jody there, about the they know all about the pedophiles in the BBC. That's the thing that controls them. He worked for them. He worked for them. He knows exactly. Yeah, he knows exactly.
He knew about it.
Of course he did. Of course he did. And he tells you that because that makes you feel as if you can trust him.
Yeah. Okay, John, another question for you there.
Okay.
Yeah, last one for the moment. Laney is wondering, can you ask John, does he know anything about the gates of hell being opened?
Again, that goes back to the you see, the Bible is the blueprint of the New World Order. That's going to annoy a lot of people, unfortunately. But the first book, the first part of the Bible, was written by Moses in Hebrew. Ever since then, things have been added on. The churches, things have been added on to just to control people. But the gates of hell is what's coming now. The gates of hell, it's not so much. It's if people lose their legs and they go blind, you could say that's hell. They're going to, people in agony. Yeah, there's some terrible things coming on the way, if you want to call that. There's hell on the way, definitely.
All right,
forget about the. If you want to know what's going to happen, this sounds rather silly after what I've just said. But the blueprint, the Bible is the blueprint of the New World Order. Whatever is predicted in the Bible will come true because they'll make it come true. That's the whole object of the exercise. See, God and the devil are one and the same. You're being conned.
Okay, so
remember what God did. He slaughtered everybody. He creates the devil. But I mean, like I say, I don't, to me it's all nonsense. But, look at it. It tells you. He just goes around slaughtering people. Anybody that doesn't follow him, he just wants people to follow him. Why? What for crying out loud? Why make the earth in the first place? No, it's got nothing to do with God's, man. Why do you think they call the third world the third world? Why do you think when they come across the borders they call them aliens? Wake up! You haven't woke up, you only think you have.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, we look forward to see the documentary if you get it done, definitely. So we can have a look at this, what information you have. This is the trouble, as you say, John. There's when you put the truth in a barrel full of lies, it's very hard to find it. But tell the listeners the three things that you said to me that you have to ask.
Why? What for? Improve it.
Right, and explain them what you mean by them three.
Well, it depends on what the subject is, of course.
Okay.
Right. You say to the person when they tell you whatever, like super soldiers will say, right?
Yeah.
I'm a super soldier. Why? Why is super soldier? Right?
Okay.
Because I never see any. I've never seen any abroad. I mean, I've been around. I mean, like I say, I was out in the Middle East. We did things in Egypt. That's why the Egyptians invited us over there, by the way. I've got pictures of that with their special forces. I was invited over there because I'd found bodies on the side of the river Nile that we had put there. And I was lucky to get back, but I've got pictures of that. Me with their special forces in Nasser City, with 3-7 of their special forces. And, like I said, I've got proof I was out there. Sorry, what was the question again?
No, just the three things. Why?
Yeah, why, what for, improve it.
Yeah.
Like I say, well, again, if somebody's stating something, like a super soldier, for instance, you've got to ask why. Well, why is there a super soldier? And then if he says, well, I'm one, say, well, prove it. You see? That's what you've got to do. You've got to prove it. But they never do. It's like, what's his name?
Well, yeah, I will say, you did invite myself and Steve over to you, and you said you were going to show us.
Yeah, well, what I said was to Mike and Melis, these are the film people in Sean Stone, get me your top men that you know, like Jesse Ventura, or because they were wrestlers and they were in special forces.
Yeah.
Get them to put me through a test, any test they like, in front of John Lee and everybody. Let them put us through a test. You see?
Yeah.
That's the proof. It's like I said, I still can do what I did 55 years ago. I'm not an old man who needs helping across the road, believe us. I still train people.
Yeah.
I still, I train people in most of my skills. And we are getting prepared for what's coming down. But whether people like it or not, it is coming down. The economy, what you're looking at, is artificial. That's why they spent the last 50 years or more closing our shipyards, closing engineering. They've closed a lot. everything down, you see. The object, the exercise, to keep the economy afloat, they've had to bring millions of people in, and they're giving them money. This is fact. And they're buying houses. There's housing estates being built everywhere, office blocks. But we don't actually make anything. And what that does, that keeps all the small companies in business, you know, the bricks, the pipes, you name it.
Yeah.
And it's an artificial economy. They're pouring money into the system. That system has to break down. Now, if you go on their figures of the population of Britain, and I can prove this, 25 years ago, they said there were 65 million people in this country. That's what they said. Now, this was 25 years ago. If you were to take 1 million out of 65 million to have one child, the population of Britain grows 1 million every year. That's the lowest figure. That's besides the ones that's pouring in every day.
Yeah.
That's besides the ones where there's I think there's 90 million. So you work it out. How many people are being born in this country every 9 months? It's just expanding like a balloon, believe us, and it's going to go pop.
And when do you think this is going to happen, John? I mean,
well, again, if I can get people that's working for the authorities in some way, then we'll be able to put a date on it.
Yeah.
But we need inside information. We need to know what's going on. Once we find out exactly what our plan is, and the only way to do that was to infiltrate them. Do what they do, well, do unto others as they do unto you, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. But you've left it too late. They're listening. They're watching you. Now every move you make, they know when you went to the bloody toilet. They know what money you're spending, where you're spending it. They've got you tied up. You need experts' help. Believe us. So if you want, you know, again, the people that live in this little world of their own, and they think that these conspiracy programs, you're listening to a footballer for crying out loud. David Icke, that's all he was. He was a bloody footballer. Why do you think he got on that? What was that program that with the Irish guy? What was that? I'm forgetting the name of it now. He was invited on that program. Remember when he said he was God?
Oh, that was Terry Wogan.
Terry Wogan. Why do you think? Hey, do you know how many people out there say they're God, but they're not invited on Terry Wogan's show? He was invited on because he worked for the BBC. He was a footballer who got rheumatoid arthritis and he couldn't play it. Then he became a sports announcer. In other words, he's a narcissist.
Right.
That's other things as well. But listen, when they got him on that program, why they got him on that program, I've no idea, other than to promote him. Because he come up with some silly things saying, I'm God. Then he made some excuse. Later on, as these limelights started to die, he said the Queen was a lizard. They got him back on again. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Then that's what started to make him. That was the publicity, and it was held by the BBC. The BBC put him where he is today. Believe us.
Promotion. All right, John. We have about 10 minutes left, and we have two questions to ask you. So
I haven't got time for another cup of tea. Go ahead.
No. 2 questions. So we'll run through the 2 questions.
Yeah. The next one is from Chris there, John, and Chris is wondering, does John know where all the new souls come from, taking it that he believes souls exist?
Oh, I can't. Yes. I can't answer the question though.
Okay. Right. Keep us in suspense.
Put it this way. Do you think for one moment that you are here just so you can to do what you're doing and then die? Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that you're born and you do what you do, whatever it is you do, and then you just die? It doesn't work that way at all. This is why, I'm saying something here, and I shouldn't be really, because it leads to a lot more questions which I'm not prepared to answer, which I do know. This is why they wanted to change the DNA. They don't want you back.
Right.
That's it. I'm going to see you no more. So I like to say good night to all your listeners. You know.
Hang on, one more question. Hang on before you go.
Go on then. I'll try one more. Go on.
Okay. Laney is wondering, can you ask John what he thinks of these new super soldiers, James Casbolt and Max Spears?
Try not to think about them.
Are they? Do you think they are super soldiers, John?
No. Of course not. Of course not.
Because I'm not convinced about Casbolt.
Listen. This is I shouldn't really, because like I said, I do not say these people. Look at this guy rang me up. I don't know. I think it was 3 years ago now. And this is no joke. I'm not telling any fibs. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. He says, John, I've seen your interview. I've got a problem, he says. He says, my wife and my wife's in serious danger. I want to know if you can tell us how I can protect her. And I said, is this some kind of a wind-up? He says, what do you mean? I said, well, I thought you were a super soldier. I thought you were in some kind of intelligence group. I thought you worked for British intelligence at some time. And after that, after I said that, he never got back to us for a long, long time. He just put the phone down. You see, these guys are, I don't know. I think Miles Johnson could have got better stories from the local mental hospital. Put it that way.
Mm.
But if anybody wants to, like I say, the reason why I said why, what for, improve it, that's what I said to people, the people in the film world, put me through the test. Any test you like. You're not going to get, you're not going to get people like Casbolt and them saying that. Believers, you're not going to get them saying that because it's just it's stories that I don't know where they get them from. I don't know what's wrong with these people. Well, apparently he's in court this week or next week. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard about that. I did speak to him.
If you hear any more, let us know.
Yeah.
But again, this is a guy who goes around murdering people all over England, in fact, even in Hyde Park, but he hasn't been arrested yet for that. It's quite strange. But he hasn't got the ability neither. He just hasn't got the ability.
Just another question for you, John. It was in the newspaper there a while ago. I actually have a copy of the newspaper article where it said that there was like 500 million Irishmen would be enlisted in the event of World War III.
Well, that's the only way they can get rid of you. That's what they did in the First World War and the Second World War. This is how they get rid of you.
Enlisting you. And do you think we're near World War III at the moment?
Well, yeah, of course, World War III started a long time ago, in a way. Like I said, I don't think it's just about all the major countries in the world now are at war in some way, shape, or form. America is just about ready to collapse completely. And like I said, they brought the borders down there. Millions of people are just pouring in. The system won't be able to handle it. Yes, we're heading for a third world war, but maybe not in the way that you think. I don't think they're going to use nuclear weapons. They don't need to. What they'll use is energy weapons. They can wipe out whole nations with these energy weapons. And, the 9/11 was a good example of that. If you saw cars half a mile away were burnt in half, engines were disappeared, handles up the doors vanished. So that's proof they're using energy weapons. And they've got lots of other type of weapons as well. They're called frequencies. This is why they've got all these coffins in America, the FEMA coffins. Millions and millions of plastic coffins. They've got the concrete ones, which is 4 feet by 6 feet tall by, I think they're 7 or 8 feet long. Now, why would you want coffins like that? And they've got this, lid on them, you see? These are for real, I've seen them. So they're preparing for something big. Don't forget, these people, here's something else for you to think about. Most of the people that are in control of the world, like the Rothschilds, they're all very old. They're older than me. And yet they're fighting for this new world order. Why? They're not going to be around to see it. Or are they?
Or are they? And what we'll do is we'll leave it at that and let people think about it. John, it's great talking to you. We will hook up and have a quick chat on Skype on a one-to-one. But
okay.
I'm going to pass you over. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to pass you over to Steve. Steve's going to get all the details off you there.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I've disappointed a lot of your listeners, but listen, we must face the truth. Not what you want it to be. It's not what you want it to be. You're not that important. Look at the world. Look at what we are. Don't just take my word. Look around you. It's everywhere. Remember, it's the people who stop the people from getting to the people at the top. But remember, the people them at the top are not people. Believers.
Yeah,
Catch
no.
you later.
Oh, no, that's okay. John, we're going to get all your details, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah, John, the only details I have here that I can put up is your website, johnurwin.com. Is there any other details you want to
well, we've got my email address is john@ucsdefense.com.
I'm just trying to type this. And do you want to tell us about the book?
And I've got a website which is johnurwin.com.
Yeah, and the book?
The book is The 16, The One Step Beyond.
Again, and that's available
that
on
comes
the
out
net.
in February.
And it'll be available to purchase through the internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant stuff.
The other books, there's a couple of books out there now, and they're selling for £300 each.
Wow. Okay, good information. John, stay with us there, and we're just going through a piece of music. We'll be back after this.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMIreland.com and ICRadioNetwork.com.
Good information there from John Urwin. He is very passionate about what he says. I know some people may believe, some people may not believe. You know,
You have to make up your own mind.
You have to make up your own
Do
mind.
your own research.
Yeah, I mean, like, some of what he says, it sounds way out there. It really does, even for me. Like, I'm not going to just dismiss it, even though my brain is saying, no, you're talking nonsense. I have to remember that I have to entertain a thought, because if I don't entertain it and at least, you know, throw it around in my brain, then I'm doing myself a disservice. So I just I will entertain it, and maybe at some point in time what he says will come true. It will mean something to me. But anyway, there we go. Right. I do have a pre-record that's going to come up next, and this was done yesterday with my sister. Actually, before I play that, I actually do have another one, a short one lined up, but it's about 59 seconds long, just under a minute. And I'm not sure if people heard it, and I was actually saying it to my sister yesterday. I think it was, about Ireland having a provisional government. This is something that was on PIR during the week. I know Vin won't mind me giving it a little bit of airplay. We're just going to play it real quick, and it was a phone call that was made to Leinster House just to ascertain if we are still a provisional government. So just take a listen to this. It's about 60 seconds long.
Sir House, hello?
Yeah, hello,
Yes?
I'm a sovereign Irishman. Can you tell me if you are a provisional government, please? I'm recording.
This is the Irish government here.
Yeah,
This is the Irish government.
Yeah, are we sovereign? Are we a sovereign? Sorry, are we a provisional government?
What, no,
Please. Could you answer that?
Hello, Teacher's Office, Tricia speaking.
Yeah, hello, I'm a sovereign Irishman. Can you tell me if you are a provisional government, please? I'm recording.
Sorry?
Yeah, could you please tell me if you're a provisional government, please? I'm recording.
In what context? Sorry, I don't understand your question.
I'm sovereign man. Can you tell me if you are a provisional government, please?
Yes, we are.
You are a provisional government. Thank you very much.
Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Interesting, because people have been saying that for a long time, and I believe Ben Gilroy was kind of slated on a local station here during the week when the chap who was interviewing him was kind of poo-pooing Ben for saying the same thing. He didn't believe that it was a provisional government. And then that chap there,
Patrick?
Yeah, okay, I didn't know if we were going to mention his name. Yeah, it's Patrick. He often rings into OYM, and Patrick rang Leinster House and he asked the question. And there's the answer from the horse's mouth, so to speak. It is a provisional government. Anyway, just got that one out of the way. Anyway, coming up, it's going to be a pre-recorded little interview, mini interview that I done last night with my sister. She's there on the chat room. If anyone wants to say hello to her, but I hope she's tuned in. And this is kind of a little bit of an impromptu thing. We just got talking during the week, and I asked her would she be interested in maybe getting something down that I could play to the people just about her waking up process. And she agreed. So we done this last night. It's about 21 minutes long. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back just after this. I'm joined this evening on the phone with my sister, Karen. And anyone who's a long-time listener of the show here at OYM Radio will know that when I kind of started to wake up to everything that was going on, some members of my family thought I was nuts. They thought I'd lost the plot. They thought I was, after going off the deep end, they were expecting the men in white coats to turn up and take me away. Some members of my family have kind of been awake since the whole water protest fiasco has come to light, and people are starting to protest. One of the people who actually woke up, quite to my surprise, was my sister Karen. And as I say, she joins me on the phone this evening. And Karen, good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Sure, I'm grand. Now, I know you're not used to doing interviews, and I'm not used to interviewing, so that makes two of us. We're both in the same boat. Now, we were just talking before we start recording this, and we were talking about other things that you're kind of started to kind of delve off into, and we will get to them in a minute. But can you just tell the listeners who are listening this evening, in their thousands, when I start to kind of get down this road, start to have my waking up process, if you want to call it that, what was your first reaction when I was coming up and kind of just giving you all this news and information and just sharing it with the family? What was your first reaction?
Honestly, I thought you were having some sort of like a midlife crisis or a little breakdown.
Okay. But I mean, this is about 4.5 years ago, so I would have been just early 40s, so you reckon it was a midlife crisis or a breakdown? Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm guessing other members of the family probably felt the same. Well, they did feel the same way, didn't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they felt the same way now about the midlife crisis part, but that's what I thought it was.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I say I was having an awakening. Obviously, it was very a personal experience to me. No one else kind of knew exactly what I was going through. But it didn't end, and it has kind of continued right up to today. And every day we learn a little more, we open up a little more, we look behind the curtain, because that was one of the things I said about the whole waking up process. It's like you walk up to a door, and the door is just a little bit open, and you just peep in behind it and you see something, but you can't just unsee what you've seen. You can't just close the door, because what you have seen has grabbed your attention and you want to know more. So therefore you go into the room, you go down the rabbit hole, and you just learn so much information. Now, we kind of fast forward to the water protest. Can you remember back to when you kind of start having your own awakening, if you want to call it that, and can you talk us through it? How did it feel, and what happened?
Well, from being on social media, I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to mention which one.
Would that be Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it.
Yeah, I just call it unsocial media. You can mention whatever you like here.
Right. But you'd see people talking about the anti-water meter charges and, the different groups. So I was kind of like, okay. You'd read the comments. I was like, yeah, I agree with that. I didn't know we were already paying, but I still I couldn't grasp why we needed to pay. Because we're an island, it rains all the time. And then just from reading what the posts that people on there were putting up, I was kind of going, I remember Stephen kind of saying things like this, and then kind of the more I was joining groups to see more of what they were saying, and it really caught my attention, even down to the fluoride in the water. I remember you telling me that we were the only country in the world nearly that does it, and I still didn't fully grasp it. And just from all these, the groups on Facebook saying, about the fluoride in the water, why would we be paying for that? And they waste so much money putting the fluoride in, and yet they want us to pay. And then you were saying through the charges, the taxes that we're already paying, why would we pay twice? So I kind of just felt it really caught my attention. I got so engrossed in it, and as I joined in all the different groups and listening to what the people were saying, and when they were saying come out and protest, and I was like, okay, never done this before. So when I did protest, and you kind of go out there and you see that you're not the only person. I know that's probably how you were feeling, but when I got into the city centre and seeing so many people, I was like, yeah, we're all obviously on the same page.
Yeah, I'm guessing you obviously saying that you weren't part of a minority group, you were in fact part of a majority group.
Yes, exactly. So now, I kind of, as I did, apologise to you, because...
You did? No, to be fair, you did, and it was completely unexpected. I never expected anything like that, and after you did, I actually went on one of the shows a couple of weeks back, and I said it to people, and as I mentioned to you during the week, when I did kind of say that my sister has had her own awakening process, and this is where she is, and this is what she said to me. She apologised for the way she reacted when I had my awakening. But I mean, that's fine. I mean, apology was accepted. But now I think you're at a stage. Well, I'm not sure about now, but I know recently you were at a stage where you were reading all the posts, you were watching all the videos, you were attending. I think you joined the AAA, the Anti-Alliance or Anti-Austerity Alliance, I believe, and you were attending the meetings. Now, I also heard that it took its toll. It was overwhelming, was it not? Yeah,
I did. I kind of came out of the meeting and I kind of understood what was going on, but at the same time was overwhelmed. And then from reading all the posts and all, as you say, all the videos and stuff, while it was educating me, I found that it was getting to me. And it was you who had said to me, look, you've awoken up now. You know where you're standing. You know what you're standing against, everything. So you're saying not to be overindulging in the posts and the videos. So I've taken that on board, and I haven't been as much, because I know that obviously I'm saying no, we won't pay again. We already pay, and just attending the marches now.
Yeah, no, that is true. When you kind of get involved in any of the stuff that, say, we look at here on OYM, any avenue that we go down, there is a tendency to get over-involved and really, really, really get yourself saturated by the whole thing. And the important thing is to remember that only go down as far as you are comfortable. If at any point in time it starts to be uncomfortable, or it's affecting your health or relationships or anything, that's kind of your comfort zone. That's where you need to stop. You really need to stop and just maybe backtrack a little bit. Just stay within your comfort zone, learn what you need to learn, and just stay there for a while. When you're ready to move on by all means, and learn some more and expand your mind even further. But if it ever becomes a task or a chore that is uncomfortable, that really, really, really is the place to stop. Unfortunately for me, when I start learning all this information, as you well know, I was running to people. I wanted to just shout from the rooftops. I wanted to tell everybody. And I couldn't understand for the life of me why, when I had this golden nugget of information, why people weren't excited, why other people weren't getting angry. But I had to realise that everyone wakes up at their own pace. You can't go around waking people up. All you can do is plant seeds. You can just give them pieces of information, but you can't shake them. You can't drill it into them. You can just give them little pieces of information, and maybe if you do it over time, it will start to build up gradually, and maybe eventually they will start seeing things for what they are.
Yeah.
Now, just again, before we start recording, and I even said to you, before I hit the record button, I should have been recording before, because can you just tell the listeners, what did you spring on me? I mean, this is something that I would have thought would have been kind of way further along the path of your awakening up process, but you sprung it on me there from the get-go of this phone call. Can you tell people what that was?
Yeah, I went on Facebook today and came across a video of a man from Bob Riggin Says No, and I clicked on it and had a look, and what he was saying caught my attention. I just couldn't believe what he was saying. I kind of, oh my God, that makes so much sense. He was talking about NLP, like you can do the...
Yeah, neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah. And he was saying how he had seen on the front of one of the papers, a Dennis O'Brien one, about the water meter installation had been cancelled due to protests. But the picture above it was of people dressed in orange clothes, throwing rocks, burning cars, stuff like that. And he went on to say that when you actually looked at it, he said, you know, obviously the heading, protest, cancel, everything caught your attention, but the picture above it you think matches the article. It turned out that the article above the picture was actually to do with riots or something in Brussels. Wasn't anything to do with Ireland.
Right, so the newspaper are kind of guilty of giving you a headline, but then putting a different image of something completely different, and then by you reading it, by, you know, the human beings being what they are, they will read the article, see the picture, and immediately combine the two of them.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. He said he thinks that, obviously, with it being a Dennis O'Brien paper, that it's kind of scaremongering, that people will go, oh God, oh Jesus, that's what's happening at the protest, I don't want to be there, because so many people are bringing their children in. It's men, women and children going in. And he was also talking about up at Coolock Garda Station the other night, the protests up there due to the abuse of women earlier on in the day, and by the guards. And he said they were pepper spraying women.
Yeah.
Like, how is that right? But he said that what the police the guards are looking to do is kind of get the women to go, I'm not going in there anymore, it's not safe for me and the children, so that only the men will march, and then the police can let rip and go to town on them, so that it won't be peaceful. And he said, we need to just keep doing what we're doing, peaceful protest.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. That's exactly what they want. They don't want the women and children there because it is too peaceful. No man or woman is going to incite violence at a protest if they're there with their spouse and their children. It just wouldn't make any sense. And I think that's what's really annoying the government, is the fact that all the protests are peaceful. There is no, from what we've heard, there is no violence at them. And despite Dennis O'Brien's newspapers saying that the protests have been infiltrated by dissident Republicans. Did you hear that one?
I've seen that, and actually someone had a picture up on Facebook, and it was about 6 elderly people sitting at a bus stop, and it said, here's the dissidents waiting to be ferried in.
So they're the dissident Republicans, 6 elderly people?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we were on a forum there the other night when I was on Facebook. They were saying about, I'm a dissident. That's obviously what we're being classed as that now. What we know it means we're peaceful protesters. And said, well, if that's what it wants to be, if that's what he wants, Dennis O'Brien and Kenny want to call us, well then that's what we are, even though we know we're not. We're doing it peacefully. You know, they're just trying to make out that there's that chap in the video was saying about the dissident Republican, it was Alan, the guy that was killed from up around Donamead. Right. They were trying to blame him the other night at Coolock, saying it was his group. He said the chap has been dead 2 years. Unbelievable.
So they're not happy enough with blaming the living. They're starting to blame the dead. So that's nothing new for this government or any previous government, I suppose.
Yeah, but he was saying something like, he didn't use the term, but it was kind of like the riot police. He said we're waiting around the corner, only waiting. He said to wade in, but he said even they had the cop on and the good sense to stay where they were because it was mainly women and children that were there outside the guard station. You know, and he said the gas thing is, he said all of the protesters, we all have footage, be it phones, tablets, whatever. He said showing that it is peaceful. He said the guards have no proof that there's anything going on, that there is violence. He said, but we all have proof that there is no violence, that it is all peaceful.
And they don't want that, you see. They don't want people having this evidence. You know, you go up there with your phone or whatever. That's your evidence, and everyone that goes there, we all have evidence. And I mean, if you look at some of the guards, they are actually wearing on their jackets. They have their radio on one side, and some of them have a little device on the other side, and that is recording. So they are recording what goes on. So at some point in time, when the video footage is played back or relayed back to their superiors, even their superiors will see that any violence that is incited by the Gardaí and not by the protesters.
Yeah, sure. I seen a few weeks ago there was footage on, and there was peaceful protest. They were all standing with their hands in the air as the police were approaching and saying, it's peaceful, we're a peaceful protest. And the guards were shoving people into other people, trying to incite trouble.
Yep.
And everyone just kept saying, keep the head, we're peaceful protesters, you know.
Yeah, and I think you're definitely on the money in what you say. They don't want the women and children there because even from what you've just said there about people saying it's peaceful, it's all peaceful. If there was no women and children there, I guarantee you, and you know as well, the guards will be out with the batons and they'd be just lashing into people.
Yeah, so that's what in town on the last protest, people had their dog. And I was thinking, I could have brought mine in, but being the fact that she's a German Shepherd and has to be muzzled by law in this country because she's deemed as a dangerous breed, you know the dog. Holly loved her. Oh, probably shouldn't have said that. Can edit that out.
Edit what out? Edit Holly?
Yeah.
No, for anyone who's interested, Holly's my 2-year-old daughter, yeah, and she's quite happy around the dog, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I would love to bring her, but I know for a fact because I've seen a video of them trying to take a man's dog off him in Cabra, and it was only like a little Labrador because he was protesting. And I know full well that the first sight of her, and I'd probably be dragged off, or we have to take her off. There'd be some hassle because of the dog that she is.
Yeah, they just use that as an opportunity to try and rile you up and maybe try and take the dog off you, so you lash out at one of them, and yeah. And
I'm sure people around me would go, "You're not taking our dog," and that gives them the ammunition to say, "Oh, well, then there was a big riot. The dog was vicious; she was going for us."
Yeah. Oh. I don't think that would happen. I think that if the dog was to go for anyone, it would be because the dog would be protecting you as her owner.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Any kind of predictions on where this whole water thing is going to go? What do you reckon is going to be the outcome? I mean, we already know that Enda Kenny and the government are all kind of backtracking and backpedaling, and they're offering little sweeteners now. They're throwing carrots out, and as I said to you last night when I spoke with you, and I said it to my wife today, your sister-in-law. I said what they're going to try and do is they're going to try and divide and conquer the people now, which is where they'll offer a sweetener, they'll throw a carrot out there that it'll look lovely to some people, and some people kind of go, well, do you know what? That looks nice to me, that's appealing, like the €100. We're going to give you €100 in your bank account to do whatever you want this side of Christmas. That'd be nice now, wouldn't it? And all you have to do is put your name on the dotted line on that Irish water registration pack. So they're going to offer that, and I think what they're going to do is try and get some people on board. So if you have, let's say, a large group of people who are all saying no, they will try and divide that group, try and get one half of them on side, and now the group will be split, and then there might be infighting in the group, and then the group will be fighting against itself, and the government will just sit back and watch. So they probably will do something like that as well, which we have to be, and I think people are aware of the tactics and the scare tactics. But what do you reckon is going to be the outcome, and how do you reckon it's going to get there?
Well, just to kind of add on there to what you're saying, they're assuming that all the people protesting, in my opinion, are on social welfare. We give you a few bob, 5% in your social welfare. I'm not on social welfare. I don't get children's allowance. So all that we'll give you this is water off a duck's back to me. I won't gain anything from it, so that isn't going to influence me or sway my decision on, anything. Yeah. But I firmly believe that we're going to overcome this. I'm looking forward to going to the protest around the Dáil.
You're going to that one, yeah?
Yeah, I'll be going to that one. I might have to go straight after work, but I'll be going.
Excellent.
They're underestimating the power of the people. And people are saying, like, the people of the 1916 rising, all our forefathers, what they fought for, and for us to roll over.
Yeah.
No, they'd be turned in their graves. No, I reckon Enda Kenny and the cronies are all thinking, we'll be here till the next general election in 2016. I don't think they will be. If the man had any decency, which he probably doesn't, he should just resign now. He'd probably try and make it last till after Christmas to get bonuses and what have you.
Yeah.
But I do think we'll overcome them.
Yeah, well, from what I've heard, I don't think he wants to be elected in the next election anyway. I think once he gets, this is what I've heard. I don't know if it's true. It may be, it may not be. I don't know. But from what I have heard, he just wants to get this in, because once he gets the people to sign up to Irish Water, and then down the line there's room to privatise Irish Water, then he's kind of a good boy. He's got a gold star. So come the next general election, he probably won't even run, because he's going to be guaranteed, I would say, a nice cushy number over in Europe.
Yeah, but I think we should get out of the EU. I think we should just go back to having our own punt
Yes.
and just get away from all them, because they're sitting over there in their country saying, you need to do this, and we're all, well, not me, but the government, oh yes, no problem, we'll do that, we'll screw the people of our country. No. As someone put up, I think it was a quote from, please don't quote me now, but it was something like, I think it could have been Martin Luther King. There was a picture up on Facebook, again, I shared it, saying you have to remember that everything Hitler did was legal.
That's right, yeah. And that's scary.
So, yeah. So it needs to stop now. And I also think the little dwarf in the Phoenix Park needs to get involved. Instead of skipping off to South Africa to check out where they have Ebola or whatever he's doing.
Yeah, again, Ebola, depending on who you talk to, it's a real disease, and there is a cure. We spoke to a doctor on this show, on this program, a couple of weeks back, and there is a solution to the Ebola problem. It's called nano silver. And it's kind of along the same lines as colloidal silver, which has been used in hospitals for years and years and years. If I don't know if you're aware of this, but when a child was born to a mother who had syphilis, there was some an eye issue that the children would be born with. So they used to get a couple of drops of colloidal silver in the eyes, and silver is actually a brilliant antibiotic, and you can actually make it at home yourself. But I don't know if the microphone is picking that up in the background there. That's young Holly, and she's trying to get my attention, banging on the door. But yeah, I mean, colloidal silver, it's been around for years, and until the pharmaceutical companies come in and they wanted to offer a better product, so they offered, something that was made by them, and colloidal silver kind of went by the wayside. And nano silver is kind of based on that. It's allegedly a cure for Ebola. But then again, we also heard as well that big pharmaceutical companies are going around offering vaccinations for Ebola, and a lot of the people who they vaccinated against the Ebola developed Ebola, and there's a whole argument going on there as well. But anyway, we've been kicking this around now for about 20 minutes. Do you have any closing statements that you want to say? Anything at all?
God, you end the spot now. I don't know. Just we need to keep out there and keep up the protest and keep the pressure on them, but just to make sure that it's peaceful.
Okay. Karen, thanks very much for joining us this evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
No problem. Thanks a million.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMIreland.com and ICRadioNetwork.com.
Okay, and we're back to the live show. Yeah, again, that was my sister, a pre-recorded interview we done yesterday, just kicking it about, talking about her waking up kind of process. The Irish water fiasco was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. And again, as I say, she is on the chat there. She has joined us for the first time, and she's more than she's very welcome along there. I know a lot of you posters have been sending her, good luck and well done messages and all that, and she can probably take over from me at some point in time. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I look forward to actually maybe someday when she kind of is in the studio and she has something to say, and she'll probably take over from my slot, because she doesn't ooh and ah and em half as much as I do. Because even when I was editing that podcast last night, I was editing out a lot of my ehs and ums. But anyway, there you go.
Well done, Karen. Well done for the chat and waking up as well. Very important there. Keep up the fight there and keep putting the information out there. We have a few minutes left. Just a couple of things we want to touch base on. Yesterday was the United We Strike Radio Marathon. Myself and Steve did a little stint at 7 o'clock. The podcast should be up there on the UnitedWeStrike.com website. If you want to listen to myself and Steve, the two of us talked about the Irish water fiasco and the protests and everything else, so you can tune into that. Fast Nutter on the chat facility said that he ordered nano silver from Dr. Rima 4 months now and still no sign of it. Fast Nutter, I'd recommend you contact them, because I think they have some deal where if you don't get it after a period of time, they'll send you another one. Because my brother-in-law actually ordered Dr. Rima nano silver, and it took a long time to get to him, and they sent him another set of bottles of the nano silver. So I'd recommend you get back on to Dr. Rima. I'm sure she'll be able to sort it out for you there, or the people on the website. Now, next week we have a chap called, the plan of attack is, this chap's in Australia, so he'll be getting up at 4:45 in the morning to come on our show. So all going well, and hopefully he's going to be on. His name is Dr. Joseph Chipolone, and Dr. Chipolone is looking at the bigger picture globally. The one thing that you've noticed, if you're a regular listener to OYM, is that we have a lot of people on, and we have guests who have their understanding or their opinion on what's going on globally. And sometimes there's a conflict of interest. Sometimes there's one person is disagreeing with another. So maybe when you listen to Dr. Chipolone, you might agree with him, or you might not agree with him. But I recommend it's going to be interesting anyway, because with his take on things, he feels that the way the world is going at the moment, it's all kind of going downhill. Not just the fact of the likes of the Fukushima and everything else, the chemtrails, but also the wars and the austerity and everything else. And it's purposely being going that way because we will come to a time where the world will just implode, basically. And we'll find out more about that next week with Dr. Chipolone. And to be honest with you, again, it's all about having a fluid belief system. You know, you might hear something that he said, like John tonight, and you might disagree. Just ask yourself, if you are disagreeing, why are you disagreeing? Do you know more information than the guest does? And if you do, by all means, please share it with us. If you don't, then obviously that means you need to move away from that structured belief system that you're stuck in and open your mind. And go and do the research and just find out, check out, see what you can find out regarding the information that John or other guests have said. It's all about having a fluid belief system. That's the important thing. So that's the guest on for next week. As we say, I'll be in Trim Court tomorrow with the Land League, on behalf of the Land League, trying to help a few people out there. Hopefully they won't get repossessed. Fingers crossed. We are going to be looking at opening a Land League office in Trim as well. We're trying to finalise that and sort that out as well. So as soon as we do, we'll let you know, and then we'll advertise it. And if people who can get to Trim office want to come down and talk to people from the Land League there about staying in your home as best you can, then that's the plan of attack. Just the bits and pieces we do outside of OYM. Keep us busy, keep us going, doesn't it, Steve?
It keeps you busy and keeps you going. And fair play to you. No, I mean, at the end of the day, Alan does a lot. And I have to say, and for anyone who's joining us late, he did celebrate a birthday yesterday, and so he's another year old. Like he's no spring chicken.
No spring chicken.
He's no spring chicken, but he still keeps the fire burning. He still does a lot behind the scenes every week. There's a lot goes on Monday to Saturday. Well, so Monday to Sunday really, but he does do a lot. Whereby I'm kind of more hands off during the week. Alan is hands on, and it's a labour of love, really, I suppose. And fair play to the guy. Well, I suppose fair play to everybody who's involved, not just us here, but all the good people over at People's Internet Radio as well, who are going to be, well, anyone who's listening to this stream, PIR will be taking, they'll be continuing on. Ben will be continuing on from us now at 9 o'clock. Not sure who's on with them, by the way. I did send him a little text there, but I'm not sure who's on. But yeah, no, look, all we can do is just keep fighting the fight. And again, that protest that's going to be on tomorrow outside the Dáil, I don't know how many people is going to turn up. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be there because of my work situation. I'm not using that as an excuse, but I'm the only one that's going to be there tomorrow. So if I don't turn up, things won't happen. And the boss is not really kind of clued in on all this sort of stuff. Well, he chooses to ignore it, put it that way. But there we go. So I believe it's 1 o'clock tomorrow, or is it 2 o'clock? I'm not 100% sure, but it is around lunchtime tomorrow. I will be eagerly listening to or watching social media just to see any updates, and hopefully if there is going to be someone maybe doing a live stream or something, if you want to let us know, we can certainly just drop it on our Facebook page and we can propagate that around as well. Just it's going to be a live feed. That'll be fantastic.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, we're going to let you go. It's near that time. For myself, Alan James, take it easy, stay safe, and if you have any news, just send us an email and let us know. Take care. Catch you next week.
Okay, yeah, and for myself as well, Stephen George, take it easy. We'll do it again. Vin, just let me know. It's just going to be Vin. So stay tuned to People's Internet Radio for Vin, and we'll do it again in 7 days. Take care, bub.
Open your mind.